Hello, and welcome to our comprehensive guide on mastering the art of working from home. We're going to lay the most critical foundation for your success, creating a dedicated and effective workspace. It might sound simple, but the environment you work in has a profound impact on your productivity, focus, and even your overall well-being. The goal is to create a space that mentally signals to your brain that it's time to work, and just as importantly, a space you can leave behind at the end of the day to reclaim your personal time. Let's start with the absolute ideal, a separate room with a door. If you have a spare bedroom, a den, or even a converted attic or basement space, you've hit the jackpot. The ability to physically close a door on your workday is a powerful psychological tool. It creates a clear boundary between your professional life and your personal life. When you're in that room, you're at work. When you're out of it, you're home. This separation helps to prevent the feeling that you're always on the clock, a common struggle for remote workers. It also minimizes distractions from the rest of the household. If you have family members or roommates, a closed door is a universal sign for, "I'm focusing right now. Please don't interrupt unless it's an emergency." Now, I know what many of you are thinking, a whole separate room? In my apartment? You must be joking. And you're right, for a significant number of people, a dedicated home office is a luxury they simply don't have. But don't worry, the principle of a dedicated space is what matters most, not the four walls and a door. You can still create a highly effective workspace in a shared area. The key is to claim a specific corner or nook as your own. This could be a corner of your living room, a section of your bedroom, or even a small alcove in a hallway. The important thing is that this spot is consistently used for work and only for work. Avoid the temptation to work from your couch one day and your bed the next. That blurs the lines we're trying so hard to establish. Once you've identified your workspace, whether it's a full room or a designated corner, the next step is to equip it with the right tools. And the cornerstone of any effective workspace is ergonomics. You're going to be spending a significant amount of time here, so your physical comfort is non-negotiable. Let's talk about your chair first. That dining room chair might seem fine for an hour or two, but after a full day, your back will be telling you otherwise. Invest in a good quality, adjustable office chair. Look for features like lumbar support, adjustable armrests, and the ability to change the height and tilt. Your future self will thank you. Next up is your desk. You need a surface that's large enough to comfortably accommodate your computer, any necessary paperwork, and your other essentials without feeling cramped. The height of your desk is also crucial. When you're sitting with your feet flat on the floor, your elbows should be at a roughly 90-degree angle to the desktop. If your desk is too high, you'll be shrugging your shoulders all day, leading to neck and shoulder pain. If it's too low, you'll be hunching over. If you have the budget, a sit-stand desk is a fantastic investment for your health. Alternating between sitting and standing throughout the day can do wonders for your energy levels and helps to combat the negative health effects of a sedentary job. Now let's turn our attention to your technology. Your monitor, or monitors, should be positioned directly in front of you at about an arm's length away. The top of the screen should be at or slightly below your eye level. This prevents you from craning your neck up or down. If you're working primarily from a laptop, I strongly recommend getting an external monitor, keyboard, and mouse. Constantly looking down at a laptop screen is a recipe for neck pain, and the trackpad and keyboard are not designed for prolonged, ergonomic use. A laptop stand can also be a great, and more portable, solution to elevate the screen to the proper height. Lighting is another often overlooked but incredibly important aspect of a home workspace. Poor lighting can lead to eye strain and headaches, and can even negatively impact your mood and energy levels. Natural light is always the best option, so if you can, position your desk near a window. Just be mindful of glare on your screen. You may need to position your desk perpendicular to the window rather than directly in front of or behind it. If natural light is limited, make sure you have adequate artificial lighting. A good desk lamp that illuminates your workspace without causing glare is a must-have. Consider a lamp with adjustable brightness and color temperature so you can customize the light to your needs throughout the day. So, you've got your location, your ergonomic setup, and your lighting sorted. What's next? It's time to think about the atmosphere of your workspace. You want to create an environment that promotes focus and minimizes distractions. Let's start with what you can see. A cluttered workspace can lead to a cluttered mind. Take some time to organize your desk. Use drawer organizers, file holders, and cable management solutions to keep things tidy. A clean, organized space is less distracting and can help you feel more in control of your workload. Personalize your space, but do it thoughtfully. A couple of family photos, a small plant, or a piece of art can make your workspace feel more inviting and less sterile. However, you want to avoid anything that could be a major distraction. That collection of action figures or a pile of magazines you've been meaning to read might be better off in another room. The goal is to create a space that is pleasant to be in, but that clearly signals that its primary purpose is work. Now let's consider the invisible distractions, specifically noise. This is where a dedicated room with a door really shines, but even then, household noises can still be an issue. If you live in a noisy environment, noise-canceling headphones are an absolute game changer. They can block out everything from the sound of your neighbor mowing their lawn to the chatter of your family in the next room, allowing you to enter a deep state of focus. If you find complete silence to be unsettling, consider using a white noise machine or an app that plays ambient sounds like rain or a quiet coffee shop. This can help to mask more distracting, inconsistent noises. Finally, let's talk about the boundary between your workspace and the rest of your home. As we've discussed, this is easier with a separate room, but it's still achievable in a shared space. At the end of your workday, make a ritual of shutting down your workspace. This means turning off your computer, tidying your desk, and putting away your work materials. If your workspace is in a common area like the living room, you might even consider a physical barrier, like a decorative screen, that you can put up at the end of the day. The act of closing up shop helps to reinforce the mental transition from work time to personal time. It's a signal to your brain that the workday is over and you are now free to relax and recharge. Creating a dedicated and effective workspace is the first and most important step in building a successful and sustainable work-from-home career. It's about more than just having a place to put your computer. It's about designing an environment that supports your physical health, your mental focus, and your ability to maintain a healthy work-life balance. Take the time to get this right, and you'll be setting yourself up for success in all the other areas of remote work that we'll be exploring in the chapters to come. So, take a look at your current setup. What's one thing you can do today to improve your workspace? Even a small change can make a big difference. Welcome back. In our last chapter, we focused on building your physical foundation, the dedicated workspace. Now that you have a space that signals to your brain it's time to work, we need to build the mental framework that goes with it. This chapter is all about the power of routine. For many, one of the biggest challenges of working from home isn't the work itself, but the lack of structure. Without the external cues of a commute, a bustling office, and colleagues leaving for lunch, our days can easily become a formless blob of time, making it hard to start, difficult to focus, and almost impossible to stop. A well-crafted routine is the antidote to this. It's the invisible architecture that will support your productivity, protect your personal time, and keep burnout at bay. Let's begin with the concept of bookending your day. One of the most underrated functions of a daily commute to an office is the mental transition it provides. The drive, train ride, or walk to work helps your brain ramp up for the day ahead. The journey home helps it wind down. When your office is just a few steps away, you lose that built-in buffer. So, you have to create a new one. This starts with a morning ritual. I cannot stress this enough. Do not roll out of bed and immediately open your laptop. This is a fast track to feeling like you live at the office. Instead, create a pre-work routine that signals the start of your professional day. This doesn't have to be complicated. It could be as simple as getting up at a consistent time, making a cup of coffee, and reading for 15 minutes. Or maybe it's doing a quick workout, taking a shower, and getting fully dressed. Yes, actually getting dressed. It might be tempting to work in your pajamas, but changing into work clothes, even if that's just a clean t-shirt and jeans, sends a powerful psychological signal that you are shifting into work mode. You could even incorporate a fake commute, like a 10-minute walk around the block before you sit down at your desk. Whatever you choose, make it consistent. This morning ritual is your personal starting bell for the workday. Equally important is the evening bookend, the shutdown ritual. This is how you reclaim your evening and prevent work from seeping into your personal life. When your designated work time is over, don't just wander away from your computer. Be deliberate. Spend the last 10 to 15 minutes of your day tidying your desk, reviewing what you accomplished, and making a brief to-do list for tomorrow. This act of planning for the next day allows your brain to let go of work-related thoughts, preventing that nagging feeling that you've forgotten something. Once you've done this, shut down your computer completely. Don't just put it to sleep. The act of shutting it down is a concrete, final action. Then, just as you started the day with a ritual, end it with one. Change out of your work clothes. Close the door to your office. Go for another walk, play some music, or spend some quality time with your family. This ritual is the clear signal that says, the workday is officially over. Now, what about the hours in between those bookends? This is where you structure your core workday. The traditional 9 to 5 schedule doesn't have to be your rule, but having defined work hours is critical. This is for your benefit as much as your colleagues. It tells you when you need to be productive and, just as importantly, when you are allowed to be off. Be clear with your team about your general availability. Block it out on your shared calendar. This manages expectations and reduces the pressure to be responsive at all hours. Within those hours, I highly recommend a technique called time blocking. This is the practice of scheduling your entire day into specific blocks of time dedicated to specific tasks. Instead of working from a long, overwhelming to-do list, you assign tasks to time slots on your calendar. For example, 9 to 11 a.m. might be deep work on the Miller project. 11 to 11:30 a.m. is respond to emails. 11:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. is prepare for afternoon meeting. This approach has two major benefits. First, it combats procrastination because you know exactly what you're supposed to be working on at any given time. Second, it prevents multitasking, which is a notorious productivity killer. By dedicating a block of time to a single task, you can achieve a state of deep focus that is simply not possible when you're constantly switching between your inbox, your main project, and instant messages. A crucial part of structuring your day is scheduling breaks. In an office environment, breaks often happen naturally. You chat with a coworker while getting coffee, or you walk with a group to a nearby deli for lunch. At home, you are the sole person responsible for making sure you take breaks. And you must take them. Working for hours on end without a pause leads to mental fatigue, eye strain, and diminished returns. One popular method for incorporating short breaks is the Pomodoro technique. You work in a focused 25-minute sprint, then take a 5-minute break. After 4 of these cycles, you take a longer break of 15 to 30 minutes. These short, frequent breaks can help you maintain high levels of concentration throughout the day. And please, take a real lunch break. Don't eat a sandwich with one hand while typing with the other. Step away from your desk. If you can, eat in another room or even outside. Your brain needs this downtime to recharge. A proper lunch break isn't a luxury, it's a necessity for sustained performance in the afternoon. Schedule it on your calendar just like you would any other important task. Finally, a routine is only as good as your ability to communicate it. Make sure your family or roommates understand your schedule. Let them know when you have important meetings or when you're in a deep work block where you can't be disturbed. You can even use a simple sign on your office door. This isn't about being antisocial, it's about managing expectations so you can be fully present with your work when you need to be, and fully present with them when you're done. In summary, creating a routine is about building a predictable and sustainable structure for your workday. It begins and ends with powerful rituals that separate your work life from your home life. It's structured with defined hours and techniques like time blocking to maximize focus. It's sustained by intentionally scheduling breaks to rest and recharge. This structure doesn't trap you, it liberates you. It provides the framework you need to do your best work while also protecting the time you need to live a full life outside of it. Your task for this chapter is to think about your own day. Where can you add a little more structure? Perhaps it's a new morning ritual or scheduling your lunch break. Start small and build a routine that works for you. Hello and welcome back to our guide on thriving while you work from home. In our first chapter, we built your physical workspace. In the second, we established the crucial mental framework of a daily routine. Now, with your space and schedule in place, it's time to tackle one of the most dynamic challenges of remote work, communication. In a traditional office, so much of our interaction is passive. We absorb information from hallway conversations, we gauge a project's mood from the energy in a meeting room, and we ask quick questions over a cubicle wall. When you work remotely, all of that disappears. Effective communication is no longer a soft skill. It becomes the primary engine of your productivity and your connection to the team. Mastering it is non-negotiable. The first principle of great remote communication is choosing the right tool for the job. Sending the right message through the wrong channel is a recipe for frustration and inefficiency. Think of your communication tools as existing on a spectrum, from slow and deliberate to fast and immediate. On one end, you have asynchronous communication. This means there's a delay between when a message is sent and when it's received and responded to. This is the default and preferred method for most remote work. Tools like email and project management platforms like Asana, Trello, or Jira fall into this category. Email is perfect for formal announcements, detailed weekly summaries, or corresponding with external clients. Project management tools are ideal for task-specific updates, questions, and feedback. The beauty of asynchronous communication is that it respects everyone's focus time. It doesn't demand an immediate response, allowing your colleagues to process information and reply thoughtfully when they have a natural break in their work. In the middle of the spectrum, you have semi-synchronous tools like instant messaging platforms, think Slack or Microsoft Teams. These are the virtual hallways of your remote office. They are fantastic for quick questions that can unblock your work, for informal team check-ins, and for building rapport. However, they come with a major pitfall, the expectation of an instant response. To use these tools effectively, you must establish clear etiquette. Don't just type, "hello," and wait. State your full question in a single message. Make liberal use of threads to keep conversations organized and channels clean. And most importantly, respect your colleagues' status indicators. If someone has marked themselves as in focus time or in a meeting, don't expect an immediate reply. Instant messaging should be fast, but it shouldn't be a constant source of interruption. On the far end of the spectrum is synchronous communication, where everyone is present and interacting in real time. This includes video calls and, in rare cases, a good old-fashioned phone call. These tools should be reserved for conversations that are complex, sensitive, or highly collaborative. Brainstorming sessions, one-on-one performance reviews, team-building activities, or urgent problem-solving are all great candidates for a video call. The key is to be intentional. Before you schedule a meeting, ask yourself, could this be an email or a message thread instead? This simple question can save everyone on your team countless hours of Zoom fatigue. Speaking of which, since video calls are the new conference room, mastering video call etiquette is essential. First, always be prepared. Test your microphone and camera beforehand. If you're leading the meeting, have a clear agenda and share it in advance. During the call, practice good digital body language. Look at your camera when you're speaking, not just at the faces on your screen, as this simulates eye contact. Mute your microphone whenever you are not talking to eliminate background noise. And try to avoid the temptation of multitasking. Your colleagues can tell when you're answering emails instead of paying attention. Being a present and active participant is a sign of respect for everyone's time. One of the biggest hurdles in remote communication is the absence of nonverbal cues. Your tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language provide a huge amount of context in person. Online, your words have to do all the work. This means you must learn to over-communicate with clarity. What might seem obvious to you can be completely ambiguous in a short, written message. Be explicit. Instead of writing, "I'll get to that soon," write, "I'll have the draft sent over to you by 3 p.m. today." Use formatting like bullet points and bold text to make long messages easier to scan. Always proofread your messages for tone before you hit send. A sentence that sounds fine in your head might come across as abrupt or even hostile without the softening context of a smile. A well-placed, professional emoji can sometimes help convey tone, but be sure to understand your company's culture around their use first. Finally, let's talk about visibility. When your manager and colleagues can't see you at a desk, you need to make your work visible in other ways. This isn't about proving you're working every second of the day. It's about being a reliable and present teammate. Provide proactive updates in your team's project management tool or shared channel. A simple end-of-day summary. Today I finished the Q3 report draft and started outlining the presentation deck. No blockers at the moment. Can go a long way. Be responsive, even if it's just a quick, "Got it, thanks," to acknowledge you've seen a message. And don't forget the social element. Actively participate in your team's non-work-related channels. Join the virtual coffee chat. Ask a coworker about their weekend. These small interactions build the trust and personal rapport that make collaboration smooth and enjoyable. They are the threads that weave you into the fabric of the team culture, even from miles away. Mastering remote communication is a skill that you'll constantly refine. It requires intentionality, clarity, and empathy. By choosing the right tool, being explicit in your language, and making an effort to stay connected on both a professional and personal level, you transform from a remote employee into an invaluable remote teammate. Your challenge from this chapter is to observe your own communication for a day. Are you using the right channels? Could your messages be clearer? A small adjustment in how you communicate can have a massive impact on your effectiveness and your relationships at work. Welcome back. We've established your physical workspace, structured your day with a solid routine, and sharpened your remote communication skills. With these pillars in place, we now turn to the ongoing battle every remote worker faces daily, the battle for focus. Your home office can be a sanctuary of quiet productivity, but it is also, paradoxically, a minefield of unique distractions. In a traditional office, distractions are often external, a chatty coworker, a loud phone call in the next cubicle. At home, the distractions are deeply personal and infinitely more tempting. The pile of laundry, the unopened package on the porch, the endless scroll of a social media feed, the pet begging for attention. Learning to systematically tame these distractions is not just a nice-to-have skill. It is the core discipline that separates a struggling remote worker from a high-performing one. The first step in winning this battle is to know your enemy. Let's categorize the common distractions you'll face. First, and most potent, are the digital distractions. These are the pings, notifications, and endless streams of information designed by armies of engineers to capture and hold your attention. Social media, news websites, personal emails, and instant message alerts all fall into this category. The second category is domestic distractions. This is the siren song of your own home, the dishes in the sink, the half-finished DIY project, the realization that you need to plan dinner. These tasks feel productive, which makes them particularly insidious distractions from your actual work. Finally, there are the social and familial distractions. Your partner who wants to tell you about their day, your kids who need help finding something, or a roommate asking a quick question. To manage these, you need a different strategy for each. Let's start with the biggest culprit, the digital world. You must be ruthless in curating your digital environment. Begin by turning off all non-essential notifications on your computer and your phone. Every single buzz, ping, or banner that pops up is a tiny thief, stealing a sliver of your focus. It takes an average of over 20 minutes to fully regain concentration after being interrupted. A day filled with notifications is a day of perpetually fragmented attention. Go into your system settings and app preferences and turn them off. Be surgical. The only alerts you should receive are those that are truly urgent and work critical. Next, use technology to fight technology. There is a whole ecosystem of apps and browser extensions designed to help you reclaim your focus. Tools like Freedom, Cold Turkey, or Stay Focused allow you to block distracting websites and applications for set periods of time. If you know you have a 2-hour window to write a report, you can program these tools to completely block your access to Twitter, ESPN, or whatever your particular digital vice may be. It's like having an automated willpower assistant. Also, embrace the practice of batching. Instead of checking your email and Slack messages as they arrive, schedule specific blocks of time to process them. Perhaps you check them at 11 a.m. and again at 4 p.m. Outside of those blocks, keep those tabs closed. This transforms you from being reactive to your inbox to being proactive with your focus. Now, let's address the domestic distractions. The primary rule here is out of sight, out of mind. This goes back to the importance of your dedicated workspace we discussed in Chapter 1. If your desk faces a pile of unfolded laundry, your brain will constantly be reminded of that chore. Keep your workspace as clean and work-focused as possible. But what about the tasks that genuinely need to be done? Instead of letting them interrupt you randomly, schedule them. Use the short breaks in your routine, like the 5-minute pauses in a Pomodoro cycle, to do a quick household task. A 15-minute break is perfect for loading the dishwasher or taking out the trash. By giving these tasks their own designated time, you prevent them from encroaching on your valuable focus time. Managing social and familial distractions is all about setting clear boundaries, a topic we touched on in our routine chapter. It's crucial that the people you live with understand what it means when you are at work. The closed door policy is the most effective signal. When the door is closed, it means you are in a deep focus session and should only be interrupted for a true emergency. For those without a door, a sign on your desk or wearing noise-canceling headphones can serve the same purpose. Have a conversation with your family or roommates to establish these ground rules. Explain that by respecting these blocks of focus time, you'll be able to finish your work more efficiently and be more present with them when you're done. Finally, the ultimate goal of taming distractions is to create space for deep work. This term, coined by author Cal Newport, refers to the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task. This is the state where you produce your best, most valuable work. It is nearly impossible to achieve in a state of constant distraction. To harness its power, you must be intentional. Block out a 90-minute to 2-hour session on your calendar for your most important task of the day. Treat this appointment with yourself as seriously as you would a meeting with your CEO. Before the session begins, prepare for it. Get your water or coffee, use the restroom, and turn on your website blockers. By creating a distraction-free fortress around these deep work sessions, you will be amazed at what you can accomplish. Taming distractions is an active, ongoing process. Your focus is like a muscle. The more you exercise it by consciously resisting interruptions and creating an environment conducive to concentration, the stronger it will become. So, here's your challenge. For the next hour of your workday, close every single browser tab and application that is not absolutely essential for your immediate task. Silence your phone and put it out of reach. Experience what it feels like to work with singular focus, and you'll have taken the first, most important step on the path to becoming a truly productive remote professional. Welcome back. In our journey so far, we have built a powerful toolkit for professional effectiveness. We've designed our physical space, structured our time, mastered our communication, and honed our focus. But true, long-term success in a remote career is not just about managing your work, it's about managing yourself. You can have the perfect office setup and the most disciplined routine, but if you neglect your physical and mental health, burnout is not a risk, it's an inevitability. This chapter is about moving our attention beyond the desk. We will explore the essential practices for maintaining your health and well-being, ensuring your remote work career is not just productive, but sustainable and fulfilling. Let's begin with the most immediate physical challenge of working from home, the danger of a sedentary lifestyle. When you commute to an office, you get a surprising amount of built-in, low-intensity movement. You walk to your car or the bus stop, you walk from the parking lot into the building, you walk to a conference room, you walk out to get lunch. At home, this incidental activity can drop to nearly zero. The longest walk of your day might be from your desk to the kitchen. This is a serious health risk over time. Therefore, you must be intentional about reintroducing movement into your day. The first strategy is to incorporate what I call movement snacks. These are short, 1 to 5 minute bursts of activity sprinkled throughout your day. They are incredibly effective at breaking up long periods of sitting. When you're on a phone call where you don't need to be on camera, stand up and pace around the room. In between meetings, do 5 minutes of stretching. Set a recurring alarm for every hour to stand up, walk to the kitchen for a glass of water, and do a set of 10 squats. These small actions may seem insignificant, but compounded over weeks and months, they make a massive difference in your energy levels and physical health. Beyond these snacks, you must schedule dedicated exercise. Treat your workouts with the same importance as a meeting with your boss. Block the time out on your calendar and make it non-negotiable. Whether it's a run before you start your morning ritual, a 30-minute walk during your lunch break, or a virtual fitness class to cap off the day, the consistency is what matters. This is not just about physical fitness. Regular exercise is one of the most powerful tools we have for managing stress and improving mental clarity. Also, don't forget to protect your eyes. Practice the 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, look away from your screen at something 20 feet away for at least 20 seconds. This simple habit can drastically reduce digital eye strain. Now let's shift our focus to the mental game. Working from home can be uniquely challenging for our mental well-being. The lack of casual social interaction can lead to feelings of isolation and loneliness. The pressure to be always on can create a constant, low-grade anxiety. You must be proactive in guarding your headspace. Start by actively scheduling social interaction. This can include virtual coffee chats with coworkers where the only rule is you're not allowed to talk about work. It also means making a concerted effort to connect with people outside of your job. Reach out to friends, join a local club, or volunteer. These connections are vital for a sense of belonging. Another powerful strategy is to find a third space, a location that is neither your home nor your designated workspace. This could be a coffee shop, a library, a park, or even a co-working space for one day a week. Spending even a few hours in a different environment can break the monotony, provide a change of scenery, and help you feel more connected to the world outside your own four walls. It helps re-establish the psychological boundaries that can become so blurred when your home and office are the same place. Don't underestimate the power of nutrition and hydration. When your kitchen is just steps away, it's easy to fall into a pattern of mindless snacking or grabbing whatever is quickest instead of a proper meal. Plan your lunches and snacks for the week ahead, just as you might if you were packing a lunch for the office. This reduces decision fatigue and ensures you're fueling your body and brain with healthy food, not just empty calories. And keep a large water bottle on your desk at all times. Dehydration is a common cause of fatigue, headaches, and brain fog, all of which are enemies of productivity. Staying hydrated is one of the simplest and most effective health hacks there is. Finally, the ultimate act of self-care in a remote world is learning to truly disconnect. When your office is always accessible, the temptation to just check one more email or finish one more task in the evening is immense. This is a direct path to burnout. You must create and enforce firm boundaries around your personal time. Use your vacation days. All of them. When you are on vacation, or even just for the weekend, commit to a full digital shutdown from work. Log out of your work accounts on your phone. Turn off notifications. Set a clear out-of-office reply. This isn't just about relaxing, it's about allowing your brain the necessary time to recover and recharge, which will make you more creative, resilient, and effective when you do return to work. Prioritizing your well-being isn't selfish, and it's not a luxury to be attended to only when you have extra time. It is the fundamental, strategic foundation for a long, successful, and happy remote career. Your physical and mental health are your greatest professional assets. So, I'll leave you with this question. What is one small, deliberate action you can take tomorrow to invest in your well-being? Perhaps it's scheduling a 15-minute walk on your calendar, or putting a large bottle of water on your desk first thing in the morning. Start there, and build the habit of caring for yourself as diligently as you care for your work. Welcome back. We've spent the last several chapters building the essential human systems for remote work success. your environment, your schedule, your communication habits, and your wellness routines. Now, it's time to talk about the non-human partner in your professional life, your technology. In a remote setting, your tech stack isn't just a collection of tools, it is your office. Your laptop is your desk, your software is your filing cabinet, and your internet connection is your bridge to the entire company. A thoughtfully chosen and well-maintained tech stack can be the difference between a day of seamless productivity and a day of frustrating friction. This chapter is about being intentional with the hardware and software that power your workday. Let's start with the hardware foundation, the physical tools you interact with every day. The heart of your setup is, of course, your computer. Whether you use a laptop for its portability or a desktop for its power, the single most important quality is reliability. Your entire job depends on this machine, so ensure it is powerful enough to handle your workload without lag or crashes. But the machine itself is only the beginning. As we touched on in Chapter 1, your visual real estate is paramount. Working exclusively from a small laptop screen is a recipe for inefficiency. Investing in one or even two external monitors is one of the single biggest productivity boosts you can give yourself. It allows you to have your primary work on one screen and your communication tools or reference materials on another, drastically reducing the time you waste switching between windows. Next, let's talk about your primary input devices, your keyboard and mouse. The ones built into your laptop are fine for short bursts, but for all-day use, external peripherals are an ergonomic necessity. A high-quality external keyboard, perhaps a mechanical one known for its comfortable typing action, can reduce finger fatigue. An ergonomic mouse that fits your hand properly can help prevent repetitive strain injuries like carpal tunnel syndrome. These aren't luxuries, they are long-term investments in your physical well-being and comfort. Now for two pieces of hardware that directly impact your professional presence, your webcam and your microphone. In the world of remote work, how you show up on video calls is how you show up, period. The grainy, poorly lit video from a standard built-in laptop camera can make you look unprofessional. A dedicated 1080p external webcam is a relatively inexpensive upgrade that can make you look crisp, clear, and more engaged. But even more important than your video is your audio. People will forgive grainy video, but they will not tolerate bad audio. If your colleagues can't hear you clearly because of echo, static, or background noise, your ability to contribute is severely hampered. Invest in a quality USB microphone or a comfortable headset with a noise-canceling microphone. This is a sign of respect for everyone else on the call. Underpinning all of this is the single most critical piece of your tech infrastructure, your internet connection. Unstable or slow internet is the ultimate productivity killer. Whenever possible, use a wired Ethernet connection from your computer directly to your router. It is almost always faster and more stable than Wi-Fi. If you must use Wi-Fi, consider upgrading to a modern mesh system to ensure a strong signal throughout your home. It's also wise to have a backup plan. Knowing how to turn your smartphone into a mobile hotspot can be a lifesaver if your primary home internet goes down right before a crucial meeting. Moving on to the software suite, your digital toolkit. Beyond the obvious operating system and your company's core applications, you need a suite of tools that support modern collaboration. Your communication hub, whether it's Slack or Microsoft Teams, is the central nervous system of your team. Master its features, like threads, channels, and status updates, to be an effective communicator. Next are your project and task management tools, like Asana, Trello, or Jira. These platforms are your shared source of truth. They provide clarity on who is doing what by when, which is essential for effective asynchronous collaboration. Cloud storage and document collaboration are also non-negotiable. Tools like Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive, or Dropbox ensure that everyone is working from the most recent version of a file. The ability to co-edit a document or spreadsheet in real time with colleagues is one of the true marvels of remote work and a fundamental skill to embrace. Finally, there is a category of personal productivity apps that can act as your secret weapons. A password manager, like 1Password or LastPass, is absolutely essential. It not only enhances your security but also saves you a significant amount of time and mental energy by securely storing and autofilling your login credentials for dozens of sites. A robust note-taking app, such as Evernote or Notion, acts as a second brain, allowing you to capture ideas, organize research, and save meeting notes in one searchable place. And as we discussed in Chapter 4, focus apps that block distracting websites can be a critical part of your stack for enforcing deep work sessions. Your technology should be a silent partner that enables your best work. It shouldn't be a source of stress or a constant bottleneck. By investing in reliable hardware, mastering your collaborative software, and using personal productivity apps to streamline your workflows, you create a remote office that is efficient, professional, and built for success. So, take a moment to audit your own tech stack. Where is your biggest point of friction? What one upgrade, whether it's a better microphone or a password manager, could you implement this week to make your workday just a little bit smoother? Welcome back. We have now covered the essential mechanics of being an effective remote worker, from your workspace and routine to your tech stack and well-being. But being effective in your daily tasks is only half the equation. The other half is ensuring that your effectiveness is recognized and that you are on a path for continued growth. This brings us to one of the most common anxieties of remote work, the fear of out of sight, out of mind. If your manager doesn't physically see you at a desk, how do you build a strong relationship? How do you ensure you're considered for exciting projects and promotions? This chapter is about learning to manage up. It's a collection of proactive strategies to not only stay visible but to build a powerful, trusting partnership with your manager and actively navigate your career path from anywhere. The single most important tool in your remote career toolkit is proactive communication. In an office, your manager can absorb a lot about your progress through osmosis, overhearing a conversation, seeing you focused at your desk. Remotely, if you are silent, you are invisible. Therefore, you must become the narrator of your own work story. The cardinal rule is this: don't make your manager hunt for information. Make their job easier by providing regular, predictable, and concise updates. This can take the form of a brief end-of-day message on your team's chat platform or a more structured weekly update email sent every Friday afternoon. A great weekly update follows a simple, powerful format. First, list what you accomplished this past week. Second, outline what you plan to accomplish in the week ahead. And third, and most importantly, identify any roadblocks or areas where you need their support. This structure is brilliant because it demonstrates your productivity, shows you are thinking strategically about the future, and flags issues before they become crises. This leads to the golden rule of managing up: no surprises. A remote manager's biggest fear is being blindsided by a problem they didn't know existed. Communicating challenges early, especially when you can propose a potential solution, builds immense trust and positions you as a responsible, forward-thinking employee. Your regularly scheduled one-on-one meetings are the most valuable synchronous time you have with your manager. Do not treat them as simple status updates. Your weekly written summary should have already covered that. Your one-on-one is your dedicated time for strategic conversation, feedback, and career development. You must own the agenda. Before every meeting, prepare a short list of talking points. These could be questions about a new company initiative, a request for feedback on a recent project, or a discussion about a skill you want to develop. Driving the conversation shows that you are engaged and invested in your role beyond the daily to-do list. When you do discuss your work in these meetings, learn to speak in the language of impact, not just activity. Instead of saying, "I spent all week working on the customer survey," frame it in terms of its value. Try this instead: "I completed the analysis of the customer survey, and the key insight is that our clients are most interested in feature X. I believe this data could help the product team prioritize their roadmap for the next quarter." The first statement says what you did, the second says why it matters. This shift is crucial for demonstrating your value and strategic thinking. To truly thrive remotely, you need to be seen as more than just a reliable task doer. You want to be known as a problem solver. When you encounter an obstacle, take some time to think through potential solutions before you raise the issue. You don't need to have the perfect answer, but presenting the problem along with a few well-considered options shows initiative and a sense of ownership. Another powerful technique is to keep a private impact journal, or brag sheet. This is a simple document where you log your accomplishments, key metrics you've influenced, and positive feedback you've received. It's easy to forget these details over time, and this document will become an invaluable resource when it's time for your performance review or when you're making a case for a promotion. Finally, you must be the primary driver of your own career development. Your manager is a partner in this process, but they are not a mind reader. Be explicit about your goals. Schedule a dedicated conversation, separate from your regular one-on-ones, to discuss your long-term aspirations. Talk about the skills you want to learn, the types of projects that excite you, and where you see yourself in the company in the next couple of years. Once your manager understands your goals, they are in a much better position to help you find opportunities that align with them. And don't be afraid to volunteer for those opportunities, especially projects that involve working with other teams. This is a fantastic way to increase your visibility across the organization and demonstrate your versatility. Managing your career remotely requires a shift from a passive to an active mindset. It's about taking ownership of your visibility, your performance narrative, and your professional growth. By communicating proactively, making your one-on-one strategic, focusing on impact, and being vocal about your ambitions, you don't just overcome the out-of-sight, out-of-mind problem. You build a reputation as a trusted, high-impact, and indispensable member of the team, no matter where your desk is located. Welcome back. So far in our series, we've focused heavily on the individual skills and systems needed to succeed while working from home. But remote work is not a solo endeavor. For most of us, it is a team sport, played across a virtual field that spans different homes, cities, and sometimes even time zones. In a traditional office, teamwork often happens organically through physical proximity. Collaboration can be as simple as swiveling your chair around. But in a remote setting, effective teamwork is anything but organic. It requires intention, structure, and a deep sense of empathy. This chapter is about mastering the art of being a great remote teammate, a skill that is essential not only for your team's success but for your own job satisfaction and sense of belonging. The entire foundation of a high-functioning remote team is built on one thing: trust. When you can't see your colleagues, you have to trust that they are working, that they are responsible, and that they have the team's best interests at heart. The first step is to personally adopt a default to trust mindset. Assume your colleagues are competent professionals who are doing their best. This simple shift in perspective can transform how you interpret a delayed response or a question that seems obvious. It moves you from a place of suspicion to a place of support. The fastest way to build and earn this trust is through unwavering reliability. Your word is your bond. When you say you will have a report done by Tuesday, have it done by Tuesday. When you commit to reviewing a colleague's work, do it. This consistent dependability is how you build a reputation as someone who can be counted on, which is the bedrock of professional trust. And if for some reason you are unable to meet a commitment, you must communicate that as early as possible. Reliability isn't about being perfect, it's about being accountable. But professional trust is only one part of the equation. Personal connection is what transforms a group of individuals into a cohesive team. You have to be intentional about showing your human side. Participate in the non-work-related channels on your team's chat platform. Share a photo of your pet or talk about a movie you watched over the weekend. Start your meetings with a few minutes of genuine casual conversation before diving into the agenda. This virtual water cooler talk isn't wasted time. It's the glue that builds the rapport and psychological safety needed for open and honest collaboration. A hallmark of sophisticated remote teams is their mastery of asynchronous collaboration. This is the ability to move projects forward effectively without needing everyone to be online at the same time. The core principle here is to think of your work like a relay race. Your job is to run your leg of the race and then prepare the baton for a seamless handoff to the next person. In practical terms, this means your work must be crystal clear and well documented. Leave detailed comments in shared documents. Write descriptive updates in your project management tool. If you're explaining a complex process, consider recording a short 2-minute screen share video using a tool like Loom. Your goal should be to leave your work in such a state that a teammate can pick it up and understand exactly what's been done and what needs to happen next, without having to ask you clarifying questions. Because asynchronous work is the default, the synchronous time you do have together on video calls is incredibly precious and should be treated as such. Every meeting should have a clear purpose and agenda. But being a great teammate in a meeting goes beyond preparation. It means practicing inclusive facilitation. It's very easy in a video call for the loudest voices to dominate the conversation. Be the person who actively creates space for others. You can do this with simple phrases like, "David, you've worked on a similar project before. I'd be interested to hear your perspective." Or, "Before we move on, I want to make sure we've heard from everyone on this point." This act of social awareness ensures that the team benefits from the diverse perspectives of all its members. Feedback is the lifeblood of improvement, but it can be difficult to give and receive without in-person social cues. A good rule of thumb is to always assume positive intent. If you receive a piece of written feedback that feels blunt or critical, take a breath and reread it through a lens of helpfulness, not hostility. Tone is notoriously difficult to convey in text. When you are the one giving feedback, be specific and constructive. The best practice is to offer public praise and private criticism. Celebrate your teammates' successes and contributions openly in a team channel. It creates a positive environment and ensures good work is visible. For constructive feedback, especially if it's sensitive, a private message or a quick one-on-one video call is almost always the better and kinder approach. Being a great remote teammate isn't about grand gestures. It is about the small, daily habits of reliability, clear communication, and thoughtful consideration for others. It's about leaving your work better and clearer than you found it. It's about making sure your colleagues feel seen, heard, and trusted. A strong remote culture doesn't just happen, it is actively built, day by day, by every single person on the team. So here's your challenge for this week. Find one opportunity to go out of your way to help a teammate, or to publicly celebrate their work in a team channel. Be an active builder of the collaborative, connected team you want to be a part of. Welcome back. We've dedicated the last 8 chapters to the skills, systems, and habits that make you a productive and well-rounded remote professional. Now, we're going to shift our focus to a different but equally critical aspect of your career: managing the business of you. Working from home isn't just a change in your physical location. It can significantly alter your financial landscape, from daily expenses to your annual tax filing. Understanding these changes is essential for maximizing your income and staying compliant. Before we dive in, a very important disclaimer. I am an AI assistant, and the information in this chapter is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not professional tax, legal, or financial advice. Tax laws are complex and change over time, and your personal situation is unique. Please consult with a qualified certified public accountant, or CPA, or financial advisor to get advice tailored to your specific circumstances. The first and most fundamental question you need to answer is your employment status. Are you a W-2 employee or a 1099 independent contractor? If you are a W-2 employee, it means you are on a company's payroll. Your employer withholds taxes for you, including federal, state, Social Security, and Medicare, from each paycheck. You receive benefits like health insurance and a 401k plan, and your administrative burden is relatively low. If you are a 1099 contractor, often called a freelancer, you are essentially a business of one. Companies pay you a gross amount for your services, and no taxes are withheld. You are solely responsible for calculating and paying your own income taxes and self-employment taxes. This is a critical distinction that impacts everything we're about to discuss. Let's tackle the most famous and most misunderstood financial topic of remote work: the home office tax deduction. There is a massive amount of confusion about this, so let's be crystal clear. For federal income taxes, if you are a W-2 employee, you cannot claim the home office deduction. This deduction was eliminated for employees by the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017. It does not matter if your company requires you to work from home. As an employee, you cannot deduct expenses like your rent, utilities, internet, or home insurance on your federal tax return. However, if you are a 1099 independent contractor, the home office deduction is a powerful tool. To qualify, you must meet two primary tests from the IRS. The first is the regular and exclusive use test. This means you must have a specific area of your home that is used only for your business. A desk in the corner of your guest room that is also used by guests does not qualify. An entire spare room used only as your office does. The second test is that your home must be your principal place of business. There are two ways to calculate the deduction: the simplified method, which is a standard rate of $5 per square foot for up to 300 square feet, or the actual expense method, where you calculate the percentage of your home used for business and deduct that percentage of your actual home expenses. Again, a CPA can help you determine if you qualify and which method is best for you. Since W-2 employees cannot deduct home office expenses, the focus shifts to company reimbursement policies. This is money you are entitled to that you must proactively manage. Your first action item after listening to this chapter should be to find and thoroughly read your company's expense and reimbursement policy for remote workers. What does your company cover? Many will offer a monthly stipend for internet and phone bills. Some provide a one-time budget to purchase a quality chair and desk. Others may reimburse you for office supplies like paper and ink. Whatever the policy is, you must keep meticulous records. Get a dedicated folder or use a receipt scanning app on your phone to track every relevant purchase. Submitting your expense reports accurately and on time is not a chore. It is a vital part of your compensation. For the 1099 contractors listening, your tax situation is more complex. Because no taxes are being withheld from your pay, you are required to pay estimated taxes to the IRS 4 times a year. This covers your income tax and your self-employment tax obligations. To do this, you need to diligently track all your business income and all your legitimate business expenses. Things like software subscriptions, website hosting, marketing costs, and professional development courses. These expenses reduce your taxable income, lowering your overall tax bill. Using accounting software like QuickBooks Self-Employed or FreshBooks from day one is highly recommended. A crucial habit to develop is to immediately transfer 25 to 35% of every single payment you receive into a separate savings account. This is your tax money. Do not touch it for any other reason. It will ensure you are prepared when your quarterly payments are due. Finally, a brief note on state taxes. This can get complicated, especially if you live in a different state than the one where your company's office is physically located. Some states have complex telecommuter tax rules. It is essential to clarify with your employer's HR department how your state residency impacts your state tax withholding. Navigating the financial side of remote work is about being organized and proactive. Understand your employment status, know the rules of the game for deductions and reimbursements, keep excellent records, and if you are a contractor, be disciplined about saving for taxes. Taking control of these responsibilities ensures that you're not just earning a living, but are also making the smartest financial decisions for your remote career. Welcome back. Over the course of this series, we have meticulously assembled the essential toolkit for thriving in your current remote role. But a truly successful career is not a static destination. It is a dynamic journey of continuous adaptation and growth. The skills that are valuable today may be obsolete tomorrow, and in the rapidly evolving landscape of remote work, the most resilient and sought-after professionals are those who embrace the role of a lifelong learner. This chapter is about moving beyond daily execution and thinking like the CEO of your own career. It's about how to future-proof your professional life by intentionally and consistently developing your skills. The foundation of this entire process is not a tool or a technique, but a mindset. It is the adoption of what Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck calls a growth mindset. This is the core belief that your abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication, strategic effort, and learning from failure. It's the opposite of a fixed mindset, which assumes your talents are innate and unchangeable. For a remote worker who has a high degree of autonomy, a growth mindset is non-negotiable. There is no manager physically looking over your shoulder to suggest you take a course or learn a new software. The impetus for growth must come from within. Embracing this belief that you can always improve is the fuel for your entire professional development journey. With that mindset in place, the next question is a practical one. What should you learn? The key is to be strategic. First, look outward at your industry. Follow major industry publications, connect with thought leaders on platforms like LinkedIn, and pay attention to reports on the future of work. What are the emerging trends? Is artificial intelligence poised to change your field? Is data analytics becoming a required skill for everyone, not just specialists? Understanding these macro trends helps you place smart bets on skills that will have long-term value. Second, look inward at your company. What are your organization's strategic goals for the next 1 to 3 years? Are they expanding into new markets? Adopting a new technology platform? Aligning your personal development with the company's direction makes you an incredibly valuable internal asset. And third, look at your own role. Analyze your daily tasks. What parts of your job are repetitive and could potentially be automated? Learning basic automation skills, even with no-code tools, could free up your time for more strategic work. What soft skills could elevate your performance? In a remote world, skills like persuasive writing, cross-cultural communication, and the ability to present data clearly are more critical than ever. Once you've identified a few areas for growth, it's time to create a personal learning plan. Hope is not a strategy. You need to be as intentional with your learning as you are with your work projects. Set specific, measurable goals. A vague goal like learn Python is likely to fail. A specific goal like complete the Google IT Automation with Python Professional Certificate on Coursera within the next 6 months is actionable and trackable. Next, you must carve out the time. Just as you schedule meetings and exercise, you must schedule time for learning. Block out 2 to 3 hours on your calendar every single week and label it professional development. Protect this time as fiercely as you would a meeting with your CEO. This is your investment in your future self. And don't forget to leverage your company's resources. Many companies have a learning and development budget or provide free access to online learning platforms like LinkedIn Learning, Coursera for Business, or Pluralsight. These are often some of the most underutilized employee benefits. The resources available for learning have never been more abundant. For deep, structured learning, online course platforms like Coursera, edX, and Udemy offer courses from top universities and industry experts. For skills that require validation, look into professional certifications in your field, whether it's in project management, cloud computing, or digital marketing. But learning doesn't always have to be a formal course. Embrace micro-learning. Subscribe to high-quality industry newsletters, listen to relevant podcasts during your commute or workout, and attend free webinars. You can also learn a tremendous amount from your own peers. Suggest starting a voluntary lunch and learn, where different team members share a skill or a new tool with the rest of the group. Finally, learning a skill is only the first step. The real value comes from applying it. Look for low-risk opportunities to practice your new abilities at work. Volunteer to help with a small part of a project that requires the skill you're learning. If you're learning a creative skill like writing or design, build a small personal portfolio of work. As you gain confidence and complete courses or certifications, make sure to update your LinkedIn profile and your internal company profile. And importantly, talk to your manager about your new skills. Let them know you've been proactive in your development and are eager to apply what you've learned. In the modern world of work, your long-term security doesn't come from your current job. It comes from your ability to learn, adapt, and create value. By adopting a growth mindset and making continuous learning a core professional habit, you are no longer just an employee. You are a valuable asset, constantly appreciating in worth, ready for whatever the future of work may bring. Welcome back. We've spent a great deal of time exploring how to be productive, collaborative, and successful as a remote professional. Now we need to discuss how to be secure. When you work from home, the traditional corporate security perimeter dissolves. The firewalls and secure networks of a central office are replaced by your home internet connection. In this new landscape, every remote employee's home office becomes a small outpost of the company, and with that comes a profound personal responsibility. Cybersecurity is no longer just an IT department issue. It is a fundamental part of your professional duties. This chapter is about building your digital fortress, the essential habits and practices that protect you, your personal data, and your company's sensitive information. Your first line of defense is your home network. Think of your Wi-Fi router as the front door to your digital office. If it's left unlocked, nothing else matters. First, ensure your Wi-Fi network is protected with a strong, complex password using the latest security protocol, which is typically WPA2 or WPA3. Avoid simple, easy-to-guess passwords. Just as important is changing the default administrator password for the router itself. Most routers come with a default username and password like admin and password, which are publicly known and easily exploited. Log into your router settings and change these credentials immediately. For an added layer of security, create a separate guest network for visitors, smart home devices, and anything that isn't your primary work computer. This isolates your work traffic from potentially less secure devices. Next, let's focus on the devices you use every day, your computer and your smartphone. The most basic and crucial step is to use strong, unique passwords or passphrase for every single account. As we mentioned in our tech chapter, using a reputable password manager is the easiest way to achieve this. But passwords alone are no longer enough. You must enable multi-factor authentication, or MFA, wherever it is offered. MFA requires a second piece of information to log in, usually a code from an app on your phone, in addition to your password. This single action is one of the most effective ways to prevent unauthorized access to your accounts, even if your password is stolen. Keeping your software updated is not a suggestion, it is a critical security task. When companies release updates for your operating system, your web browser, or your applications, they often include patches for newly discovered security vulnerabilities. Running outdated software is like leaving a known, unlocked window open for intruders. Enable automatic updates whenever possible. You should also ensure your devices are encrypted. Modern operating systems like Windows and Mac OS have built-in tools called BitLocker and FileVault, respectively. Enabling full disk encryption means that if your laptop is ever lost or stolen, the data on it will be unreadable without your password, protecting both your personal and company information. Now we move to the most important security component of all, you. Technology can only do so much. Most cyber attacks today target the human element through deception. The most common form of this is the phishing scam. Phishing attacks are fraudulent emails, text messages, or instant messages designed to look legitimate in order to trick you into revealing sensitive information, like passwords or credit card numbers, or to get you to click a malicious link that installs malware. You must train yourself to be skeptical of any unsolicited message. Look for the red flags, a sense of extreme urgency, like, your account will be suspended unless you act now, generic greetings like, dear valued customer, poor spelling and grammar, and email addresses from the sender that don't quite match the company they claim to be from. Before you ever click a link in an email, hover your mouse over it to see the actual web address it will take you to. If you receive a suspicious email from what looks like your bank, your credit card company, or even your own IT department, do not click anything in the email. Instead, go directly to that company's website through your browser, or call a known phone number to verify the request. Your guiding principle should be, when in doubt, throw it out. The same vigilance applies to where you work. Public Wi-Fi networks at coffee shops, airports, and hotels are notoriously insecure. You should never conduct work on a public network without using a virtual private network, or VPN. A VPN encrypts all of your internet traffic, creating a secure, private tunnel that prevents others on the same network from snooping on your activity. If your company provides a VPN, use it every time you are not on your trusted home network. Finally, you have a responsibility to handle company data with care. Be mindful of your surroundings. Don't leave your laptop open with sensitive information on the screen if you have visitors or are working in a shared space. Consider a privacy screen filter for your laptop, which makes the screen difficult to view from an angle. Be sure you understand your company's specific information security policies. Know who to contact immediately if you suspect you've clicked on a malicious link or noticed strange activity on your account. Reporting a potential issue quickly can make all the difference. Cybersecurity is not a one-time setup. It is an ongoing practice of vigilance. By securing your network, protecting your devices, and training yourself to be a skeptical and informed user, you transform from a potential vulnerability into the strongest link in your company's security chain. Welcome back. We've explored a wide array of strategies to make you a more effective, secure, and valuable remote professional. But perhaps the single greatest challenge, and the most critical skill for long-term sustainability, is mastering the art of work-life balance. The greatest promise of remote work is flexibility. Its greatest peril is the complete erosion of the boundaries between your job and your personal life. When your office is always just a few steps away, it's easy to feel like you're always on the clock. This chapter is about learning how to redraw the line. We'll explore the practical, deliberate actions you can take to protect your personal time, prevent burnout, and ensure you can be fully present and engaged in all aspects of your life. Our first and most tangible line of defense is the physical boundary, a concept we introduced when setting up your workspace in Chapter 1. Now, let's re-examine it through the lens of work-life balance. Having a dedicated workspace, ideally with a door you can close, is the most powerful physical signal you can send to your brain and to others in your home that your workday has ended. The physical act of standing up, walking away from your desk, and closing the door behind you is a deeply symbolic and effective way to transition from your professional self to your personal self. This transition is powerfully reinforced by a shutdown ritual, which we touched on in our chapter about routines. This is a consistent series of actions you perform at the end of every workday. It could involve tidying your desk, reviewing your accomplishments for the day, creating a prioritized to-do list for tomorrow, closing every single work-related tab and application, and then shutting down your computer completely. This ritual is your new commute. It replaces the drive or train ride home, providing a clear and final endpoint to your professional obligations for the day, allowing your brain to begin the process of letting go. To strengthen this, actively designate no work zones in your home. Make it a hard rule that your bedroom and your dining table are sacred spaces, free from laptops and work conversations. In our modern world, however, physical boundaries are not enough. You must also erect strong digital boundaries. Your smartphone is a 24/7 portal to your office, and if you don't control it, it will control you. The most important action you can take is to turn off all work-related notifications on your mobile devices outside of your working hours. This is non-negotiable. The chime of an incoming email or the buzz of a new Slack message at 8 p.m. can instantly pull you out of your personal life and back into a work mindset, creating a low-grade stress that prevents you from ever truly recharging. To take this a step further, try to separate your digital selves. If your company policy and budget allow, having a separate phone for work is the ideal solution. If not, you can still create separation. Use different web browsers for your work and personal activities. Log out of your work accounts at the end of the day. And use the status features in your communication tools to clearly signal your availability. Setting your Slack status to offline until 9 a.m. with a moon emoji isn't just for your colleagues' benefit. It's a commitment you make to yourself that you are now off the clock. Your calendar is your next powerful tool for defending your time. Your workday needs a defined end time, and you should represent this visually on your shared calendar. Create a recurring daily event called End of Day or Offline that blocks out your evening. This makes your unavailability visible to colleagues in other time zones who might otherwise try to schedule a meeting after you've planned to log off. Similarly, schedule your lunch break. Block it out on your calendar and treat it as an untouchable appointment. Use this time to step completely away from your desk. Do not eat while answering emails. That is not a break. It is just working in a different location. Ultimately, the most important boundary is the one you draw inside your own mind. Learning to psychologically detach from work is the most challenging, but most rewarding part of achieving balance. This is where a post-work transition ritual comes in. Immediately after your shutdown ritual, do something that acts as a mental buffer between your two worlds. This could be a 15-minute walk outside, listening to a specific music playlist or podcast, doing a short workout, or spending a few minutes on a hobby. This activity helps cleanse your mental palate and shifts your brain into a different gear. When you are off, make a conscious effort to be truly present. If you're having dinner with your family, put your phone away and engage fully in the conversation. If you find your mind wandering back to a work problem, gently acknowledge the thought and then guide your attention back to the present moment. If you consistently find that work issues are intruding on your evenings, try scheduling a 30-minute problem-solving session as the very last task of your workday. Use that time to specifically think about the challenge and write down your thoughts and next steps. This can help contain the work anxiety within the workday itself. Achieving a sustainable work-life balance is not a one-time fix. It's a constant practice of designing and defending your boundaries. These boundaries are not a sign of weakness or a lack of commitment. They are the hallmark of a seasoned professional who understands that rest and recovery are essential components of high performance. By being deliberate about your physical, digital, and mental separation from work, you give yourself the gift of a richer personal life and, in turn, become a more energized, focused, and effective professional. Welcome back. As we move deeper into the modern landscape of work, it's clear that for a vast number of professionals, working from home doesn't mean working from home all the time. We are living in the era of the hybrid model, a blend of in-office days for collaboration and remote days for flexibility and focus. This model promises the best of both worlds, but it also presents a unique set of challenges. How do you ensure you are just as effective and visible on your remote days? How do you make the commute and your time in the office truly worthwhile? This chapter is your guide to navigating the hybrid world, providing you with the strategies to not just survive, but to thrive in this new professional paradigm. The single most important principle for success in a hybrid model is intentionality. You cannot treat your in-office days and remote days as interchangeable. Each location has distinct advantages, and your goal is to align your work with the strengths of your environment. Start by looking at your week and planning your tasks based on where you will be. Your days in the office should be primarily reserved for tasks that benefit from in-person, synchronous interaction. This is the time for collaborative brainstorming sessions, sensitive one-on-one conversations that benefit from nonverbal cues, team-building lunches, and spontaneous cross-departmental problem-solving. Your goal for an office day should be to maximize connection. Conversely, your remote days should be fiercely protected for deep, focused work. This is the time to tackle the complex report that requires 2 hours of uninterrupted concentration, to write the detailed project proposal, or to perform the data analysis that needs your full attention. The quiet and controlled environment of your home office, which you've so carefully crafted, is the perfect setting for this kind of work. The biggest mistake hybrid workers make is commuting into the office only to spend the entire day on video calls with people who are sitting just a few desks away. Be the person on your team who champions using in-person time for actual in-person collaboration. One of the greatest risks of a hybrid model is a psychological phenomenon known as proximity bias. This is our natural, unconscious tendency to give preferential treatment and assign more value to the people we see and interact with most frequently. It means that employees who are in the office more often may be seen as more dedicated or be given more opportunities, even if their remote colleagues are equally or more productive. You must be proactive in combating this bias. On your remote days, you need to be extra diligent about making your work visible. This reinforces the strategies we discussed in our chapter on managing up. Send clear, concise updates on your progress. Ensure your contributions are well documented in shared project management tools. Be an active and engaged participant in virtual meetings, turning your camera on and contributing thoughtfully. You have to ensure that your impact is felt, regardless of your location. You can also advocate for remote-first communication practices on your team. This means that any important decision made in a hallway conversation at the office needs to be documented and shared in a team-wide channel, ensuring that everyone has access to the same information, regardless of where they were working that day. You also need to master the logistics of the digital handshake, the seamless transition between your two workspaces. Your technology needs to be as flexible as you are. This means having a reliable laptop, a comfortable backpack for transport, and perhaps investing in duplicate peripherals. Having a dedicated monitor, keyboard, mouse, and power supply at both your home desk and your office desk can transform your transition from a daily hassle of packing and unpacking cables into a simple, stress-free commute. At the end of your office day, take 5 minutes to ensure a smooth handoff to your remote self. Save all your files to the cloud, not to a local server or desktop. Send a quick summary of any key in-person conversations to relevant stakeholders. Finally, you have to make the commute worthwhile. Your commute represents a significant investment of time, money, and energy. Ensure you are getting a positive return on that investment. Before you head into the office, be a social catalyst. Look at the schedule to see who else will be there. Proactively reach out to a colleague from another team and schedule a 15-minute coffee chat. Suggest a walking one-on-one with your manager. Use your in-person time not just to work alongside your immediate team, but to build your broader professional network within the company. This is also your time to absorb the company culture, to have those informal lunches, and to gather the passive information that you can only get from being physically present in the shared space. The hybrid model is not a temporary compromise. For many, it is the future of work. By being ruthlessly intentional with how you spend your time in each location, by actively combating proximity bias through clear communication, and by treating your in-person days as precious opportunities for connection, you can truly harness the strategic advantages of both worlds, building a career that is both flexible and deeply connected. Welcome back. As we approach the end of our series, it's time to tackle one of the most defining, and often, most dreaded activities of modern professional life, the meeting. In a remote or hybrid environment, meetings are the primary stage for real-time collaboration, decision-making, and connection. But they are also a notorious source of wasted time, energy drain, and Zoom fatigue. The difference between a valuable, energizing meeting and a pointless, draining one comes down to a set of skills that anyone can learn. This chapter is your playbook for mastering the art of the meeting. We'll cover how to lead meetings that people actually want to attend, and how to participate in a way that elevates the entire conversation. The success of any meeting is largely determined before anyone clicks join. The most important work happens in the preparation phase. The first and most powerful question a meeting organizer can ask is, should this even be a meeting? Be ruthless here. If the goal is simply to share information or get a status update, it's almost always better handled asynchronously through an email, a project management tool update, or a pre-recorded video. A real-time meeting should be reserved for its true purpose: discussion, debate, brainstorming, and collaborative decision-making. Once you've determined that a meeting is necessary, you must craft a purposeful agenda. A weak agenda is a simple list of topics. A powerful agenda is a list of questions to be answered or decisions to be made. Frame each item as an outcome. For example, instead of discuss Q4 marketing plan, write decide on the top 3 marketing channels for the Q4 campaign. This focuses the conversation on a tangible result. Distribute this agenda at least 24 hours in advance, along with any necessary pre-reading material, so participants can arrive prepared to contribute. Finally, be surgical with your guest list. Invite only the people who are absolutely essential for the decisions being made. For anyone who just needs to be informed of the outcome, respect their time by promising to send a detailed summary afterward. Now, let's talk about the art of facilitation during the meeting itself. Your first responsibility is to honor the schedule. Start on time, every time. Even more importantly, end on time, or better yet, end a few minutes early. The 25-minute or 50-minute meeting has become a popular and welcome practice. Ending at 25 or 50 minutes past the hour gives everyone a much-needed buffer to stretch, grab a drink, or prepare for their next call. The first 2 minutes of the meeting are critical. The leader should immediately state the purpose of the meeting and the specific, desired outcome. This gets everyone aligned and focused from the very beginning. To combat disengagement, you must facilitate, not just present. Avoid long monologues. Instead, use interactive techniques to keep people involved. Call on people by name in a supportive way. John, you have a lot of experience with this client. What's your take? Use the tools at your disposal. A quick poll can gauge the room's opinion. A virtual whiteboard like Miro or Mural can unlock collaborative brainstorming, and the chat function can be a great place for collecting questions. For important decisions, use a round-robin approach, going to each person in the virtual room to ensure every voice is heard, not just the loudest or quickest to speak. In a hybrid meeting, the facilitator has the added duty of bridging the gap between the physical and virtual rooms. A great practice is to assign an in-room advocate, whose job is to monitor the chat and raise a hand on behalf of remote attendees who want to speak. The value of a meeting evaporates if the conversation doesn't translate into action. The work isn't over when the call ends. Within a few hours of the meeting's conclusion, the organizer must send out an action-oriented recap. This should not be a long transcript. It needs to be a clear, scannable summary that contains 3 essential things. First, the key decisions that were made. Second, a bulleted list of all the action items that were generated. And third, for every single action item, a specific person's name as the owner and a clear due date. This creates a public record of accountability and ensures that the momentum generated in the meeting carries forward. You don't have to be the one leading a meeting to make it better. Being an excellent participant is a skill in itself. First, come prepared. You owe it to your colleagues to have read the agenda and any pre-reading materials. During the meeting, be present. Turn your camera on if that's the team culture. Close your email and other distracting tabs. Listen actively to what others are saying, not just waiting for your turn to talk. When you do speak, make your contributions concise and relevant. And finally, you can help the facilitator. If you notice the conversation is drifting off track, you can be the one to gently guide it back by saying something like, "This is a really interesting point, and to make sure we get to our last agenda item, I'm wondering if we should return to the main topic?" Meetings are a reflection of a team's health. Inefficient, unfocused meetings often signal deeper issues. By embracing the principles of rigorous preparation, engaging facilitation, and clear follow-through, you can single-handedly elevate the quality of your team's collaboration. This is a leadership skill, and it's one that will make you an invaluable asset in any remote or hybrid organization. Welcome back for our final chapter. For the past 14 sessions, we have embarked on a comprehensive journey, laying down the essential building blocks for a successful remote career. We started with a physical foundation of your workspace, built upon it with a structure of routine, and then layered on the critical skills of communication, focus, and collaboration. We've explored how to manage your career, your finances, your technology, and most importantly, your well-being. We've navigated the nuances of hybrid work and mastered the art of the remote meeting. Now, in this concluding chapter, we are going to zoom out. This isn't about one more tip or trick. It's about synthesizing everything we've learned into the single most important asset you can possess, a mindset for long-term remote excellence. If there is one unifying principle that connects every single topic we have discussed, it is the concept of extreme ownership. In a traditional office environment, many elements of your professional life are provided for you. The structure of the 9-to-5 day, the social opportunities at the water cooler, the immediate visibility to your manager. These things happen by default. When you work remotely, that default setting is gone. You are now the sole proprietor of your professional experience. You are the architect of your own productivity, the curator of your own focus, and the champion of your own career. Think back on our journey. You take ownership of your physical environment by designing an effective workspace. You take ownership of your time by creating a deliberate routine. You take ownership of your career by managing up and making your impact visible. You take ownership of your health by integrating movement and wellness into your day. You take ownership of your security by practicing good digital hygiene. This shift from passive participant to active owner is not a burden, it is the ultimate empowerment. It grants you a level of autonomy and control over your life and career that was unthinkable for previous generations. The initial phase of remote work is about adapting. The next, more profound phase is about being proactive. It is no longer enough to simply complete the tasks you are assigned. To truly excel and become a leader in this new paradigm, you must actively shape your work and your team's environment. Look for the friction in your team's remote processes. Is documentation consistently lacking? Are meetings unfocused? Instead of complaining, be the one who proposes a solution. Create a simple template for meeting agendas. Volunteer to set up a better system for organizing shared files. By proactively solving the unique problems of remote collaboration, you evolve from being just a team member to being a team leader, regardless of your official title. This proactive mindset extends to the team culture. A vibrant remote culture doesn't just happen, it is actively and continuously built. Be a positive force. Be the person who starts the day with a good morning in the team channel. Be the one who enthusiastically celebrates a colleague's success. Be the one to suggest a virtual happy hour or a non-work-related channel for sharing hobbies. You have the power to contribute to a work environment that is not just productive, but also connected, supportive, and human. Of course, this journey requires immense professional resilience. The challenges of remote work, from isolation to the pressure of being always on, are real. This is why the habits of redrawing your work-life boundaries and consciously unplugging are not soft skills. They are core components of your long-term survival strategy. Your ability to recharge is directly proportional to the quality of your work. Furthermore, your resilience is bolstered by your network. Intentionally cultivate relationships with colleagues both inside and outside your immediate team. These connections are your support system, your source of new perspectives, and your professional safety net in an ever-changing world. As we look to the future, the tools we use will undoubtedly evolve. We may soon find ourselves collaborating in virtual reality spaces or relying on AI assistants to manage our schedules. But the fundamental, human skills we have focused on in this series will only become more valuable. Disciplined self-management, clear written communication, the ability to build trust with people you rarely see, empathy, and above all, intentionality. These are the timeless skills that will define the most successful professionals of tomorrow. You are a pioneer in this grand experiment of redefining what it means to work. The best practices are still being written, and with the knowledge you've gained, you are now in a position to help write them. So, as we conclude, I leave you with this final charge. Do not settle for being an employee who simply happens to work from home. Take these principles, adapt them, and make them your own. Embrace the mindset of extreme ownership. Become a proactive force for positive change on your team. Build a career and a life that is not just successful, but is also fulfilling, balanced, and authentically yours. Thank you for joining me on this journey. The future of work is here, and you are ready to lead it.